Is this thing on? Are we live right now? What's going on YouTube?
What up? Wait, what's today? Tuesday?
Yes. Our shows are on
Happy
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh, yeah.
Our shows are on Tuesday.
My bad.
Happy 2nd of February.
Oh, yay.
Black History Month. And for all of those who have significant others, I hope you have a great February. Spend it with your lovers.
Oh, Valentine's.
Valentine's. Yes, yes, yes.
Or enjoy it on your own.
Yeah. Love yourself. Treat yourself. Take yourself out on a date, out for massages, or for a massage for yourself. But welcome to today's show where we're talking about fotografía. Photography. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I am excited to do today's show. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I just really love the setup. I don't know if it's because of the windows, because of the table.
It's the windows. I feel more like
Maybe
elevated, like the couch. You kind of want to just chill.
Yeah, it's more laid back.
Here it's cleaner.
True. Yeah. So I decided let's set up these cameras, these
angles,
beautiful angles, brought to you by Nikon and this Canon right here. But yeah, I am so happy to be doing today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. We're your hosts, live with Enrique.
Ariana Villalon.
And you're my wife.
I know. I was like looking into filing our taxes, and I was like, wait, we can file them together.
You said, wait, we could do this together. And I said, yes, we can. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. Photography, baby. Love it. That is my profession, actually. And
I got a little bit of experience with photography.
Actually, you do have experience with photography. You are a photographer for Sears, taking portraits.
Oh, dang, yeah. Oh, my God. I didn't even know how I got that job.
She said, how did I get there?
I think I was in high school.
What? That's crazy. Well, why don't you tell the people a little bit more?
Yeah, that took me back. I was thinking more so in college. I took
Sorry. I'm over here thinking like, oh, yeah, that one job that you had at Sears.
No, but you're right. I was taking photos for Sears for a moment and then left. But it was a great experience. But no, in college, it was a class that I had to take. And at the time, before I had my Canon currently, I would shoot with a point-and-shoot Sony.
Oh, I remember you telling me. It was a gray one, right?
It was black.
Oh, black.
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn I saw a gray one in your room. Maybe that was another old one.
Bees.
Okay.
But I would do self-portraits in the dark. And
nice.
the only light I would have would be like a light bulb or my phone. They're very dark photos. And what I would do was I would kind of like this show, Mixed Media. I would then upload that to Photoshop and create an image. And that's kind of my experience with photography. And also, my fashion photos on Instagram being on the other side of the camera, in front of the camera.
So you wouldn't necessarily say you were the photographer, you were the model?
Not always. No, yeah. I sometimes would. I definitely feel a little bit more confident in front than taking it.
Nice.
But we did pick up some really good gems at the
record store on 18th.
Yeah, I do have a film camera that I want to
35, baby.
To take out more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you, on the other hand, it's been involved in your life a little bit longer. Yeah. Parents,
Francisco Soto, madre, if you're watching, please let me know what age I was, because I don't recall. But yeah, for those of you watching, if you go to Google and type in Polaroid iZone, I-zone, before iPhones or Apple adapted the I, Polaroid had what was called an iZone camera. And I wish I could show the folks. Maybe I can pull up the image and then showcase it. Turn my laptop around. Hopefully I don't ruin anything.
Or maybe I can pull it up my phone.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Just type in Polaroid iZone. But yeah, that was my first camera. It was actually analog. Shout out to the parents. They got it for me, and I just remember it was so unique and so odd for me because the images were so small, but the actual film itself was like, what looks to me, what I will always remember it as is a Band-Aid, because the image was the size. Go ahead, show 'em.
Is it? Let's see. Should I like put down my brightness?
A little bit. Let's see. There you go. So it was just these Band-Aid looking films and this iZone Polaroid I had as a kid, and I would take pictures on that. Thank you, my love, for showing the audience. But yeah, that was my first camera. I can't tell you what age I was, but I did always have an interest in taking photos. I didn't actually pursue that feeling until high school. My dad actually had this professional, I wouldn't say it was a professional Nikon. I think it was like the D50. So it was still a crop sensor. He still had some good lenses. He had 15 to 18 millimeter to 50 millimeter lens. I think it was still like an f4. And he had a zoom lens, which was 50 to 200 millimeters. And I would use that one. I took pictures of, my dogs, Wrigley and Ewok. I had an old friend named Joseph who lived down the street who had a pool table, and Andy and I would go spend some time to go play pool. He was a grade older than us, and I remember I would just go over there. Whenever I had the chance to take the camera out, I would. And I remember at one point I got into like skateboarding photography. I had one of my old friends, Juan. He was the best out of all of us. He stopped skating, unfortunately. And I had him, those parking blocks that stop you from going like on the sidewalk or whatnot?
Oh,
the little blocks.
Yeah.
I had him sort of do like a crooked grind, and I was just like, okay, just hold it there, pose, and I'm gonna take a picture. And he didn't actually do the trick, but I wanted to like involve myself in that type of photography, and I was just like, I love this feeling, I'm gonna chase it. And I think it was probably my sophomore year of high school. Junior year, I was a little bit on and off. Senior year, I did pick the camera back up and take a couple more photos. But it wasn't until college where I'm ranting. I'm so sorry. You had these questions.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
Right. I love photography. Yeah, it's always been a part of my life. But yeah.
Oh no, I thought you had I see you have some facts here.
Yeah, I'll present the facts after you give me your Q&A.
Oh, okay. So you want me to give the Q&A? I had a few questions for Enrique, and I think other people are also interested.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this would be a perfect opportunity to
dive in.
Yeah.
So you kind of already answered my first question, which was kind of how you started. Did you go to school for photography?
So that was actually what I was going to jump into is, I didn't necessarily graduate with anything under my belt in regards to photography, but I did start off I went to college for photojournalism, and my first year I took film photography, and that's where I learned so much, like methods of dodging and burning, composition, shutter speed, ISO, and, aperture, f-stops, stuff like that. And I learned the basics. And I also took a journalism class. I just took classes just for photojournalism. But as time went by, I had sources outside telling me, get serious with life. Art's not really going to pay the bills, so on and so forth. So, I changed my major to nursing. And man, was that hell. I did not enjoy. Although, don't get me wrong, at the time I was also like weightlifting. I was trying to get into bodybuilding.
I think you were still trying to figure yourself out.
Yeah, I was trying to find my path, and I did enjoy anatomy. I did enjoy nutrition, parts of biology. I hated chemistry, but yeah, I absolutely loved some aspects of nursing, you know, learning about the human body, or like sociology and psychology. I did take those.
Bottom line, like helping others.
Yeah, because I'm a person that loves to help, but it was an idea, and I didn't even get to finish, I believe, the first semester of that year. And I was just like, you know what, school is not for me. I can't afford it right now. You know, these loans aren't going to come in anymore. You know, I can't. I felt like I couldn't afford my time and my money to something that I wasn't fully invested in, you know.
Yeah, you felt like you couldn't keep up, so it just kind of like, let's figure this out.
Right.
Let's put this on pause.
It's not that I well, yeah, that too. I felt like I couldn't keep up, but not only that, I felt like it was a waste of time. And now, no means do I mean like college is a waste of time. No, if you know you need an education for your career down the road, you know, go to school. It's important that you go to school, but there are a lot of examples. For example, my parents, they've owned numerous businesses, and they didn't even go to school. What are you doing? We have a show.
I know. I saw the light behind me.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure everyone's okay. There's not an accident or something.
No, they're combat people.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's AAA. They're pulling somebody out of the alley. Wow. Yeah, if you're in the Chicagoland area, you know.
Drive safely.
This
snow
winter,
still exists.
this year has effed us over because this snow is ridiculous.
No, but I think Enrique made a good point. School is definitely for structure, you know?
Yeah.
They have everything set up for you. You're going there. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for everybody.
Exactly.
Everyone is successful in their own way. And I think for you, yeah, your path wasn't there. It just wasn't meant to be there.
Yeah, and I will forever love you, because I remember after dropping out of school and then making my way to the city, I remember I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I was confiding in you, and like, I was like, what should I do? And I remember, it's going to sound very cheesy, very corny, but it was an Axe commercial, right?
Uh-huh.
Do you, or something like that, or what was the slogan? Do you remember the slogan?
I do not.
It said something like, what's your path, or what's your purpose, or something cheesy, like some cologne trying to be serious. No, it wasn't that. It was find
your path.
Yeah, let's just keep it simple. And it was something similar along the lines of like, find your path. And I was just like, Ariana, what do you think it is? And I remember I was on the phone on my way on the metro train on the way to the city to go to work. And then she stayed silent for a second, and then she said, you already know what to do. It's photography. And I said, you know,
drops mic.
right. But yeah, I will forever love you for that, because you know, you did set my head straight when I feel like I was a chicken with my head cut off, not sort of knowing, like, I had a sense of what I wanted to do with my life, but I was sort of
more so, I feel like it was reassurance, because you already knew.
I had an idea, right, because I loved it, but, you know, you hear a lot of stories of adults, they're like, oh, yeah, I wanted to grow up to be a chef, but here I am being a mechanic, you know. You can't always live your dreams, you know. And I'm here to tell you, yes, you effing can. If you have a dream and if you want to accomplish something, go accomplish it. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Or persuade you to do something else, because you know, if you have a passion for it, I'm a firm believer, if you're passionate about something, people will find, right, not only that, but if you find something passionate, you're going to make others passionate about it, because I feel like passion definitely spreads. But yeah, I did go to school for it. Didn't get much. I mean, I did get some stuff I already knew, but then the year that I had dropped out, I had actually saw my film photographer, Floyd. His name is Floyd, and he came into the store. And then I was like, oh my gosh, Floyd. And then he's like, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. I was heartbroken a little bit. I was like, I was in one of your classes with Sarah, Kelly, and then I was like naming people. He's like, oh, I believe I remember. He's like, how are you? Well, how's it going? Stuff like that. And he's like, you know, they actually have digital photography. They got rid of film. And I was like, no. I was like so sad, because I love film, and yeah, that's sort of where my career sort of started to take off, was around that time. So I would say I started photography young. I did go to school for it, but when I think my career really took off, it would probably have to be like 2014, 2015 maybe.
Okay. And the people would like to know, what kind of gear do you use? Just briefly, 'cause we're learners here, so don't get too technical.
Yeah, I won't go too technical. I'll just give you the brands. So I'm actually a Nikon shooter. I have been because that's sort of what I grew up on. My dad had the Nikon D50, so I used that. And then my first camera that I bought myself via Best Buy was actually the Nikon D3500, which Angie actually has right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave her that camera, and then when I started my career with the office that I'm at now, I will not disclose, I still had a crop sensor throughout my professional photography years and my work. I did it with a crop sensor, and here I am fighting against, the grain. The photography industry, I believe, is so saturated, and here professionals are with full frame cameras and such beautiful lenses with such wide apertures, getting such beautiful images. I was surprised that I was in the position that I was in, and
I mean, I guess to be devil's advocate, it may not be considered photography, maybe it's a tough subject, but a lot of people use their phones that are really, really successful. So I don't think
there's a photographer here in Chicago. Her name is Swopes. She had a episode on Through the Lens on Adorama. If you go get a chance, go check out her episode. I believe it was like season 2. They're on season 7 or 8 right now.
Oh,
I think
wow.
it's fantastic what Adorama's doing in their shows and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I agree, because a lot of my work when I was on and off taking photos, before my dad's camera, I was actually using my phone. So the phones that I would like to gear towards was the HTCs. So I had like numerous versions of HTCs, but at that time, with the technology that was available, I felt that HTC had the best sort of sensors and lens quality for a phone. And yeah, I remember buying my first camera, and I was ecstatic to just continue to go take photos.
Definitely. Do you have a favorite lens to shoot with?
I don't know why. I suck with the lens too. I'm best with the 18 to 55 millimeter. But for some reason, I like a wide lens.
Okay.
So for me, it's like a 13 to 24. Or I that was for DX bodies for Nikons. Right now there's one for the new S line, and I believe that's 14 to 13, 12 or 14 to 24, and that's a wider lens. For some reason, I like it because it sort of helps what I feel sort of
captures what you were looking for.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd like wider shots. As you know, I do various types of photography, but
yeah, actually, how would you describe your style, and do you have a favorite style or subject to shoot? So we know that you like more wider lens.
Yes. So
what would you say your style is then?
I'm definitely one, and as of recently, my work has definitely changed. And if you look at my Instagram from some of my first images to my most recent, you're gonna see such a drastic change in my work. I'm more so a storyteller. I wouldn't call myself a photojournalist. Although I went to school for one, I would love to be a photojournalist. I'm not really good with writing. That was probably my worst subject in school. I was better at math than I was at writing. But yeah, probably storytelling, because I would say it's more of a hobby to do street photography right now. What I enjoy more is more so my profession, which would be like commercial photography.
Okay.
And yeah, there's different types of photography. Like we have commercial photography, photojournalism,
fashion photography.
Exactly, and environmental, like there's so many types of photography, and there's wildlife, so on and so, like the list goes on, abstract, so on and so forth. But for me, I think my profession, working with the corporate office, I do enjoy commercial and fashion, but I can't say I have a favorite, because I also enjoy shooting product. Now, that doesn't go to say that I do that for a hobby. I more so do like street photography as a hobby, because I feel like I enjoy capturing people in the moment. I enjoy storytelling,
Kind of on the low.
Right, exactly. And not having to say too much. I kind of like sort of letting the image speak for itself, and that's why I didn't find it necessary to like sort of write a small article or a small story to do it. And that's why I've been releasing my work on Instagram as series, 3 photos at a time, and I went back to black and white. So I guess my style would be black and white right now. Because in school, when I did film, it was mainly black and white. Although I love color, and especially when it comes to like commercial or fashion photography. But yeah, I'm torn. I don't think I can say I have a favorite. Those are the ones that I just thoroughly enjoy doing. So it's like fashion, commercial, street, and storytelling, almost like photojournalism,
Okay. And who would you say has had the most influence on you as far as other photographers?
I think it's going to be a little cliche to say Ansel Adams, because that's like the...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a really good one. Peter Lick. He has a museum here in Chicago, right on Michigan Avenue, and you and I actually had the fantastic opportunity to go to his museum. And I love what he does with his prints. It's absolutely like stunning. Obviously, I'm pretty sure other photographers have thought of it, but he uses like a highlighter sort of ink. So to give you an example, he has this this photo of the Chicago skyline, and instead of using white ink for some of the images or for that skyline, he used that highlighter sort of glow in the dark ink. And so when you have it exposed to a specific light, or if it's by a window, it'll activate that light. So when you turn the lights off, the image is actually glowing. I don't know if you remember seeing that image.
I remember, yeah.
But Peter Lick is a really good photographer. Another photographer, which I think is amazing. I know, people are, it's sort of back and forth with her work, but Vivian Meyer, she was another Chicago photographer.
That was a lovely documentary.
Yeah, and maybe some other current artists, I can give you like Manny Ortiz. Some of his work, not all of his work. Some of his work I truly admire as a photographer.
Local artists?
Yeah, Manny Ortiz. He's a local.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
There's another one that used to be local. I believe he was from Indiana. His name is also Mike, but on Instagram it's Il Concept, but Concept is with a K. And other photographers that continue to inspire me are some close people. Like it's everyday life that inspires them, and that continues to inspire me, because Emma's an analog photographer. She doesn't like digital anymore. But yeah, she inspires me. Donald is learning, and to watch him learn and his passion, I think continues to drive me as well. To see B's work, the way she is able to capture you, I don't know if it's like a certain comfortability that you have with her that you may not have with me. Yeah, Ariana's sister.
But she
Bianca.
shot other people.
Yeah, but I don't know. The other shots, don't get me wrong, they're nice shots, but every time she shoots with you, there's this level of like creativity or chemistry that you two have together, and man, B produces some amazing photos with you, and I absolutely love her work. I wish she showcased more of it too.
Exactly. Yeah. She shoots with a Fuji.
Yeah. And Jim Kloss, he is one of the first photographers that I had modeled with as well.
Shout out to Vuli. Miss you.
Miss you, Mama Vuli. You're the best. Stay golden, Mama Vuli. Yeah, and then there's another one. She's Korean, if I'm not mistaken, and she's a local photographer here in Chicago. Her handle is, let me actually look it up. Um, Actually, let me go to my messages because we had message. I had put her in my story, but
Nice.
her Instagram handle is, oh, her name is Esther Wu, and she's in Chicago, and she has some amazing work. If I'm not mistaken, she does mostly digital. I think she has some film in here. But hers, I don't know. It's more so landscape, environmental.
Dabble in that.
Yeah, and I don't know, the way she captures colors. I don't know. It's very appealing and pleasing to the eye. I think she does a fantastic job of conveying a story almost. Like
Oh wow, yeah, that's really beautiful.
yeah, she produces some amazing work. We pass by this every day, and sometimes it's hard to compose really nice compositions.
It really pops.
Right, and you've seen me take photographs of this building, Like, look at this.
Yeah.
I feel like her work is fantastic. I've taken shots of this, but her take on it is absolutely amazing. There's other ones like I don't think he's in Chicago anymore, but Alfie.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I met him at a meet, and then I also went to one of his shows or his art galleries, and we were able to talk for a bit. But yeah, some
The
of his
list
work
goes
also.
on and on.
Yeah, and it's a lot of local photographers. I wish I can mention all of you that inspire me. Dominic Ferris, he actually worked with Nadine and I for Who Is Torres.
Yeah.
Fantastic
great-
soul. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to show you his profile. But yeah, he does amazing work as well. And yeah, those are just that's just a very small version of a
small
list
Yeah.
of who inspires me and who I like to.
Cool.
Oh, Edgar's film stuff.
Oh yeah.
I could do without the car stuff because I feel like with film photographers that is
But
a little
that's
bit
just kind of
overplayed.
his niche.
No, that is his niche, but there are other portraits that he's taken
Oh yeah.
or other
Definitely has
shots
the
that aren't
eye.
cars that are fantastic. When I see some of Edgar's photos, I'm like, whoa. But I get it. I don't want to say it's a fad. Maybe it is something that's been done for quite some time, but if you look up film photography on Instagram, you'll find that a lot of them are going to be cars, whether it be the taillights, the headlights, or, a side profile of the car. But I feel like, seeing that same image, different cars done with film, all starts to look the same. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess you could say that with the buildings in Chicago.
With any city.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's what you make of it.
it is what you make of it. And if you enjoy shooting it, just shoot it, Everyone's going to have different taste and preferences. But yeah, that's a small list of who inspires me.
Cool. I thought this was an interesting question, and I'm curious what you're gonna say to us. What
no.
is one thing you wish you knew when you started taking photos?
Oh gosh.
Oh,
I don't want to get too deep into it, but
just something quick.
I just wish I didn't have too much people around me who weren't artists or photographers or artists in general, sort of sway my passion for photography. What's something that as far as in like photography, like technical terms or ways of working, or what do you mean by like that?
Like, do you think you could have done? You wish you would have known that.
Like,
would've made
what
it
advice would I give myself
easier?
as a young photographer?
Yeah. Like maybe don't take 1,000 photos, or don't be too hard on your editing process.
That's something that I
or-
learned really the
I
hard
don't know.
way as a film photographer in college. Like, you only have 32 to 33 frames, depending on what your camera allows you to take. But yeah, every shot counts. Don't take it for granted. It's easy for me, using this mirrorless camera here, to take, a bunch of images if one doesn't work out, but at the same time, it's just like a photo dump. I don't like going through all of them like, oh, this one's similar, this one's similar, this one's similar. I like finding those little gems in there, but sometimes I wish I was able to capture it the
in
first
that
time.
moment.
Right, exactly.
One
And
and
that's why
done.
sometimes I don't like digital in that sense. And that's why I do enjoy analog, because it makes me really think about, okay,
You only got one shot.
and I got to make this opportunity count. You know what I mean?
I
That's
respect
one
that.
piece of advice as far as like a way of working. But if I really had to like dig deep on what advice I would give my younger self entering photography is, don't say no to any opportunity that's given to you. You know, like something that my business partner brought up is like feeling it like an imposter syndrome. You know, like you've done the work, but you feel like you're not good enough yet. You know, like you're
Yeah.
always gonna have that insecurity. Like, am I good enough? Whether it be a musician, a painter, a photographer, you know, an animator, so on and so forth. Like you're always gonna have that insecurity, but I think what's important is it's not just, you know, suppressing that insecurity, but sort of acknowledging it and facing it with work. Sort of, you know, you don't have to prove to anyone that you're a photographer. Prove to yourself that this is truly a passion to yourself, and just do it. Just do it, because you're going to make mistakes. And as an artist, I've made plenty of mistakes. You know, we've had, I think this was episode 1 where we talked about successes and failures.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of failures as a photographer. And
It's a part of the journey.
yeah, it's saddening. It sucks to fail, you know, but those are learning lessons that sometimes you have to go through to grow as an artist.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, cool. I guess going into that, how do you educate yourself to take better photos? What feedback do you give yourself as a photographer?
So I actually have been looking to go into like forums. Before COVID, you would be able to go to like these places where you meet up.
Community?
Yeah, like where you would go and like have your portfolio, talk to like editors and
Nice.
people who would look at your portfolio. And it sucks, but they're gonna give you constructive feedback, like this could have been done better, this could have been done better, this could have been done better.
Another set of eyes.
Exactly. And you know, I also read articles. Like I was actually going to mention first and foremost F-stoppers, because that's a community of photographers. And essentially what that website is the community of photographers. You can write an article on there, you know, you make a profile. So it's like social media, but you really have to put in the work, not only in your photography, but in the presence that you're trying to make in that community.
Like
because
engagement?
Right, exactly. Because it's not just about like a tweet. It's not like a Facebook post. It's not a tweet. It's much more. Like you have to go into it like with open-ended questions. You have to have like a call to action, like ask the audience or the community, what are your thoughts? What are your ways of working? So on and so forth. And I love it, because there are a lot of times where, you know, people are like, they talk about the business aspect of it. You know, they talk about, you know, different options when it comes to an issue that they came across on one of their shoots. And I just love F-stoppers, because it's a community of photographers where you get to talk amongst each other and comment on the article and some of the posts that they make.
Kind of like educational growth.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like
yeah,
you're
because
trying to grow from these
exactly,
interactions.
and there are other professionals commenting on it, like giving feedback, and
Nice.
I absolutely love F-stoppers for that. Or DSLR Lounge is similar to F-stoppers. They're completely different, but they have a similar platform. What?
Nothing. Nothing.
Now I want to know why you're laughing.
No, I'll tell you after.
No, I want to know. Is it? Oh, yo, leave me alone.
Okay. It's okay.
Okay.
So F-stoppers is a great way to for exposure.
Right, but I also read articles like from different places. For instance, like there was this article that I read about a surgeon. You know, not a lot of surgeons go into the room with their patients ready to go do surgery. And there was this article that I read with this brain surgeon. He's just like, I wanted to do my own study and see, you know, have a professional sort of oversee me. I'm like paraphrasing the F out of this. But long story short, or to paraphrase it, like he said, you know, I wasn't happy with it. I got irritated that he was telling me I was doing this wrong while I was performing brain surgery. But in the end, I learned that I've come to learn that I have habits that I was letting slip by because of time, you know, and having another pair or set of eyes sort of helped me grow
Mm-hmm.
as a surgeon. And when you apply that to photography or to art, sometimes it can be daunting, and sometimes your ego can get in the way, like, well, this is just the way I paint, or this is just the way like I shoot photos, you know. I think it's important that you be accepting of feedback, you know, because although art is very subjective, I think it's important to take others' feedback into consideration, not just your audience, but other professionals and clients as well. Like, feedback is very important when it comes to an artist, and I feel like not a lot of people like that.
Are open to it.
Right, because art
Yeah.
is subjective, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. It's what you make of it, you know. You can either keep doing what you're doing, which is fine, or maybe you might grow from these, you know, critiques
Yeah.
or feedback. Yeah,
Mhm.
I completely agree. Okay, cool. What do you think is the most challenging part of being a photographer, and what do you think is the most rewarding part?
Challenging. Man, I've had a lot of challenges as a photographer.
Even if maybe clients?
Yeah, I was gonna say
or-
more so clients or projects. It's always communication, whether it be with a client or as a project when you're doing a partnership or a collaboration. I think the trickiest part about it is just communication, because I think it's important to be thorough with the client and partners. Always have a contract. Like, it sucks
like,
because
a consultation.
right, because you're an artist and you want to be an artist, and all you want to worry about is your babies and your works of art, and that's completely fine, but you also have to keep in mind the business aspect. And I think it's important to go to school for those reasons, you know.
Yeah.
Because before, I knew nothing about the photography business, you know, and I just went like, oh, well, I could do it pro bono, I could do it for free, don't worry about it, you know. And although which is fine, right?
Yeah.
You can paint someone a portrait or something that, you know, makes you think of them and give it to them for free as a nice gesture, or, you know, because they're a family friend, whatever
A
the case may be.
gift.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But, you know, even in my professional career, I've done pro bono work only because, you know, they are family and friends. You can still do that as a professional. But I think it's important when you're working with paying clients and paying partners who are paying you via sponsorships or out of their pockets. Like, I think
Mhm.
it's important that it's clear, and before you sign on the dotted lines, what's expected, what the deliverables are, you know, how many times do they have to adjust it. So let's say, like, I work with a client, like, name your favorite fashion company.
My favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Oh, okay. It could be any. It doesn't have to be.
No.
Can it be sneakers?
Whatever you want.
Oh, Vans.
Vans. Okay. So the client says, you know, we came out with this new sneaker. We want you to display it, and we want you to do in-studio shots, you know, for product photography, so we can put it on, sell it on our website. But we also want some commercial work.
Maybe
So maybe
social
someone-
media.
Yeah, so maybe someone like skating on it or sitting around with friends, or, you know, something like that. And, you know, you have to be clear on the deliverables, you know, and be like, okay, so here's what is expected of me. Here's what you want.
Yeah.
And upon your request, I will be able to deliver these deliverables. And if you are unhappy with the first deliverable, you're allowed X amount of adjustments. So you're
Oh,
allowed
okay.
2 adjustments.
Just so it doesn't drag on.
Right, because clients and partners can, like, continue to bear on more work. Like, oh, can you also change this? Oh,
Mhm.
can you also change this? Oh, can you also change this? And the work continues on, and sometimes you feel like it's over edited, or you're reaching that deadline, and it's just like, yo,
You kind of lost your part, because it's kind of a little bit of you.
exactly.
It's kind of that balance of the client and your style.
Right. So I feel like that's probably going to be
That
the
is the
most challenging is communication and the business side of photography.
Mhm.
Not saying the art side isn't, because, you know, it's not just the triangles, you know, you also have to think of color theory. You also have to think of, you know, composition, storytelling when it
Yeah.
comes to working with products and clients and stuff like that. Or if you're just doing street photography, abstract photography, there is going to be a purpose behind what you're doing and why you're doing it. You know what I mean? So not to dismiss the arts aspect of it, because that is difficult. Sometimes people rely on inspiration, and sometimes you just need to have that discipline and not wait for inspiration or motivation to hit. You just have to continue to do it, and some days something is going to come to you and you're going to be able to accomplish it, and other days you're going to be in a rut and you won't be able to. So I feel like there's challenges in both aspects, business and artistic. But for me, I feel like I don't have that many writer's blocks, or
Yeah.
I don't fall behind on ideas. Maybe for video, but not for photography. There's always something a story that I want to tell with photos. So
That's awesome. And the upside, what's the most rewarding part of it?
Oh, I'm so sorry. What's the most rewarding? Seeing people happy.
I kind of knew you were going to say something like that.
Why? Why did you know?
That's something I would say goes for my work. I don't necessarily make it for people yet. It's more so kind of coming from my ideas. Like, I don't have any clients. I've had people reach out to me, but, we'll get into that. But I would say definitely, making someone happy because something you created with your hands. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy that you're paying me to create something with these two things,
Right. And
like,
this,
that's so
this
beautiful.
little brain,
Yeah,
this
your
brain right here.
imagination.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know. It's different because a lot of my work isn't even done for clients too. I mean, I do have a lot of clients.
Majority. Well, I say a good chunk.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's just more so seeing that people not only give me positive feedback about my work, but also thoroughly enjoy my work. I've had people from high school reach out to me and be like, yo,
Aww.
I enjoy your work. And I'm just like,
or even like when we
what?
go to TJ's, Trader Joe's, and you saw that dog and the woman was so happy that you wanted to take a picture of her beautiful dog.
Yeah.
Like moments like that I think are very rewarding.
Yeah, it sucks because not a lot of people have that confidence and like going out to people and be like, hey, can I take your image?
It can be kind of,
Yeah, it can be daunting because people are like, what is this for? Like, where are you going to put this? Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like as a photographer, if you're going to do street portraits or street photography,
you got to know how
you're going to have to get used to taking people's pictures without their knowledge or without their consent. Or if you find that you do want them to interact with you and interact with your audience, and there's a further story that you want to tell by taking this person's picture, you have to have the guts to go up and ask them, be like, hey, can I take your image? And not a lot of people can do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's beauty in the simplicity of the snapshot that you took of someone simply sitting on the train looking out the window or on their phone or reading a book, because I have images like that, and I love those images.
Yeah,
but
it's
I
like
also
a moment in time that you froze.
Exactly. Yeah, and I love
Yeah.
that because there's a story behind that. But I also do enjoy going up to people and be like, hey, can I take your photo? Because one photo that I actually posted on Instagram was of a gentleman. He's probably in his 50s, 60s, 70s. Lord knows. But he was on the bus. And I think you were there too. We were on the bus going somewhere. Pre-pandemic. This old man had on shades and a black snapback. And on it said B-A-E. Bay. And I said, this man looking slick. And I tried taking a couple images without his knowledge. Excuse me, I just burped a little bit.
Oh my God, me too.
And I tried taking a picture, but I couldn't get the composition that I wanted. The bus was moving, he was moving his head a lot, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not happy with the way this is coming out. Let me just go ahead and ask him. So I was just like, perdón, disculpe, pero me puedo tomar tu foto? Because I don't know why I made the assumption that he could speak Spanish, but I did anyway. And he said, sí, por supuesto. And I was like, all right, bet, here we go. I was like, quédate así. And then he just crossed his legs, so he put his hands in his lap, and he just like smiled. I said, yo, this man's so cute. I absolutely loved it. And I've done that with a few people on the CTA, on the bus. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think that's just so rewarding. Like, creating something out of nothing almost. And
you're such you interact with people so easily. Like, you That's one thing I envy about you is that you're able to have any conversation with any person, you know? Like, you're a very social person, and I think that's another reason why, you gravitate towards photography, because you're meeting so many people
Yeah.
all the time, constantly, you know?
Sorry to jump back at the previous question. What was breakfast? I actually found pleasure in some of his old work. He used to do like some cityscape stuff, but he started a new, maybe a segment if you want to call it, but he has a new sort of story to tell in photography. And what he does is he goes around taking portraits of people around the city and asks them, what did you have for breakfast? And in the comments, he tells us, the audience, what they've had for breakfast and what their answer was. And I absolutely love that. And yeah, Rio, if you guys happen to see my boy's Instagram, go check out his Instagram. I was able to do a couple portraits for him for something that I can't tell y'all about.
Top secret.
Top secret, yeah.
Stay tuned.
But
Great photos.
What was breakfast? I think his name is Matthew. I'm sorry if that's not your name. I forgot his name, but he's close with Rio.
Yo,
he knows Rio, and
small world,
absolutely crazy. And he actually took a portrait of him as well.
Oh,
yeah, he made him look swole.
Wow.
Because he was like this.
Oh yeah, he's muscle man.
Yeah, I mean Rio is swole, but you know what I'm saying. That's the reward. That's
Cool.
what I would say I found pleasurable.
I only have one final question.
Sure.
This is the big one.
Oh God.
What does photography mean to you?
Oh man. I'm gonna get up close and personal.
Might shed some tears.
Photography, what it means to me, is it's almost like an escape for me. Even during tough times in my home, I would just leave and I would just go take photos. There's this park. For those of you who are in the Chicagoland area and grew up with me, you'll know Bolingbrook has a couple of parks, and one of them was called Hidden Lakes.
Oh, lovely spot.
I took some wildlife pictures there. I have a picture of deer. Like, I have pictures of me like goofing around hanging in a tree with my feet off, because you know how like that was a thing where
Wasn't there a waterfall?
There is one there. Yep, there's a waterfall there. I took a couple pictures of that waterfall. There's a bridge, and it was just an escape for me, allowing me to escape my reality and sort of, compose and display nature at its finest or at its ugliest. And it was just a form of expression. It allowed me to tell a story with nothing really there. I could...
No words.
Exactly.
Just images.
And I had an image. It's really crappy. It's probably off my phone, but I took my mom to Hidden Lakes. It was just me and her. I don't know why it was just me and her, but I just wanted to spend time with her, and we were just talking, and I remember we were sitting in a bench for a little bit in the forest, and I was like, hey, wait here for me. And it's actually a terrible image, but I like it because you can see my mom there, and it's very abstract, and my editing was horrendous, and I edited it on my phone. It was taken on my phone, but it was a moment in time that I was able to capture that was such a happy point in time in that day with my mom.
Aww,
hanging out for no
beautiful.
reason.
Yeah.
And there's other ones where I felt lonely, and I remember I saw a bench, and it was under this willow tree. I love willow trees. And it was just sitting in the shade, and there's this beautiful cloud, and then there's this ray of sun coming through and this beautiful shadow, and I was able to capture the image of the bench. And I remember at the time I was just like, this doesn't feel like anything. And then as I look back at it, I'm like, I did feel lonely. And I think that is what possessed me to take a picture of this bench, which had no one. It was lonesome, in this random park that was so hidden from the park district, And I don't know, it's just an escape from reality, allowing me to express myself and tell stories. That's what photography is for me.
Love it. I think a lot of people can agree with you, and any form of media or sport, it's always an escape from,
our reality, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Makes
think
us
that's
happy.
and yeah, and I love that you love anime because I didn't really look at anime like that. I thought it was like cartoons for children. I was like, this is stupid.
I mean, there's
What
some
is
silly
this?
ones, but those are
Right,
good too.
but
you
there
know?
are like Haikyuu. He's so passionate about volleyball. Food Wars is basically a soft hentai, but Soma is so passionate about cooking. Like, I think why I find beauty and interest in these is because the main characters are passionate, and I feel like I'm passionate too. So that's why I
Yeah.
like these characters, and a lot of them are adult, but a lot of them can be kid-like, and that's why I love that art form, anime and manga and stuff like that. But to circle back to photography, yeah, it's an escape.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm glad you were able to sort of stir up some questions for me because I didn't want to just be spitting straight facts about photography. Although I do have some facts to inform you guys what I learned a little bit in school and something that I learned about along the way in my journey as a professional photographer. But I'll give you like quick little facts because this stream was only supposed to last 30 minutes and we've
Where
lasted
are we at?
51 minutes.
Oh wow,
Almost
baby.
an hour, yeah. But there is an Arab physicist, Al-Hazen, between the years of 1965 and forward, also invented an obscure version of a camera, which is called a pinhole. You can do this yourself with film and stuff like that. Or
Oh my god, is it those pinhole cameras that you would make really quick in school?
Yeah.
Oh, I made one of those.
You made one of those?
Yeah.
That's so sick, dude.
I don't know if my mom still has it.
Oh, we should look at. We should see if we
oh my
can
god,
get
I
it. Yeah.
remember those.
But that was the first true pinhole camera. And Louis Daguerre in 1838 is generally accepted as the first earliest photographer to include people. And
Ooh.
yeah, if I recall, the photograph wasn't of a person. If I'm not mistaken, it was like a couple of buildings with people there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And yeah, photography is like well, it's pretty simple, really. It's a camera, but to break it down to you, it's like an art and an application,
Okay.
a practice in which you record an image via light.
Oh,
So a way,
science.
a science, yeah. So you could do it digitally, or like my sister likes to do it analog via film. Essentially, what the camera does is, if you're shooting a DSLR with film, what you're looking through in the hole is an array of mirrors that lets you see through the lens.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you take the image, the mirror flaps open, and then there's another flap that exposes the film, the light to the film. And whatever light is shown on that film
Okay.
is the image.
Nice.
Same with the sensor.
Yeah.
It flips open the mirror, and then the sensor is exposed to light. And RGB,
Mm-hmm.
the sensor, collects all that data from that light and those colors to create an image,
Cool.
which is
So awesome.
just a bunch of numbers if you think about it. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
When you get into the details.
And the science behind it, yeah. I've always loved, they actually built I think it was in 2019, they built the largest lens and the largest camera, which they're going to attach to a telescope in California or Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken.
Whoa, baby.
Yo, this thing is crazy. It's just like sensor, 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 like an array of sensors just to make one fat sensor.
Wow.
And they have different filters. Like this thing is huge. I think maybe 12, 13 feet tall with circles that rotate, and they're filters.
Oh.
Black, white, yellow, because what they're trying to do is take large images of space.
Oh.
Isn't that amazing how
You
photography
love space.
I love space. I love science. But yeah, if I were to see myself in any career, it would probably be like in a science lab doing some
could see
photography
that.
stuff. Because although I love being a freelancer, working with clients, doing partnerships, doing collabs, I think,
Documenting history.
right, being a part of history
Yeah.
as well, I would love to do something like that. But yeah, color photography was explored in the beginning of the 1840s. Early experiments in color required extremely long exposures, hours and days for camera images, and could not fix the photograph to prevent the color from quickly fading when exposed to white light.
That makes sense.
But it's crazy because in 1981, Sony created something that wasn't necessarily like the first digital camera,
Yeah.
but it would attach to this huge box. Do you remember what old computers used to look like? They were like fairly large.
I think so, yeah.
It was something similar to that, and you would plug in the cameras so it would read and accept the information.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
How far we've come.
Right, and that was 1981. It's called a CCD, a charged coupled device, which was attached to it. It's called the Sony Mavica. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but it was not fully digital. The first fully digital camera to both record and save images in digital format was the Fuji X DS1P, which was created by Fujifilm back in 1988.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Fujifilm because they actually came out with a camera called the GHX or the GH1X, something like that. But it's a medium format sensor. So there are different formats in which you can shoot. You can shoot in 35 millimeter film. You can shoot in medium format, which is a larger format, or you can shoot in large format film where you see people take out that like large thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I wish I can get more into it, but I kind of wanted to give my sort of perspective on or my take on photography, and I'm glad you were able to come up with some cues for me to answer, because I feel like I didn't really give too much when we were discussing our professions as well. You know,
yeah, a little bit more. We dived into kind of you and photography.
Yeah, exactly. So I appreciate you taking the time. But yeah, there's so many more facts on photography that I wish I can provide you guys in this episode, but we are reaching an hour, so maybe we might extend this episode and do a photography part 2.
Maybe like your camera settings, exposure,
f-stop, bring my my camera on
the
set.
Jutesy details, what you do in
behind the
post-production.
scenes. Oh, pre-production and post-production?
Yeah. What your editing apps you use, all that jazz.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. But yeah, thank you again for taking the time to ask me these questions. I appreciate it. And thank you to all of you for tuning in on this lovely Tuesday night. This is episode 6.
7.
No.
Yeah, I have 7 on here. Are you not looking?
Oh my gosh, it's episode 7. I'm so sorry, guys. Yes, I am completely wrong. So I'm going to give you guys like a brief summary of our episodes. If you guys are interested in the show, thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys want to see episode 1, where we talk about our successes and failures as professionals, check out episode 1. Episode 2, we did talk about some anime. Episode 3, we talked about manga. Episode 4, we talked about comics. Episode 5 was going to be MCU, but because Disney decided to release WandaVision, we moved that to episode 6. Yeah, but episode 5, we dove a little bit deeper into anime and did a spotlight on Cowboy Bebop. That was a great episode because my lovely wife here made an entire PowerPoint on it.
Oh gosh, don't say that.
And we, you did though.
I know I did.
And we were able to play Seatbelts, the intro.
Oh yeah, hopefully that video was not taken down.
Oh no, I don't think it was. I would have gotten an email or notification. Episode 6, we talked about the MCU, gave a little bit of spoilers on WandaVision. This episode was on photography. Next episode, I did say it was going to be on graphic design and illustration. Apologies on switching it up all the time. But we're going to be talking about live stream, what we're doing right now. I believe this is an art form, and an art form that I would love to talk about because as of recently, my career has been incorporating not only photography and video, but it's shifted to live streaming. So I definitely wanted to incorporate that into my YouTube channel, and now we are doing it. So I would love to talk about it. But
I'm interested.
I know I'm excited to talk further into what all this
is.
Oh, camera 1 went out. Dang, sorry, but yeah, this lovely camera as well, and what it takes to actually live stream. What you guys see here is like this little light. It's a switcher called an 810 Mini, but
I just want to go beep boop beep boop
beep boop, beep, just boop. Switch to them, right? Yeah, and give you guys a little bit more detail on what it takes to sort of set up and do a live stream. But after episode 8, speaking of live streams, we're going to have some surprising guests on episode 9, our first guests on our shows. And we will be talking about graphic design and illustration, my lovely wife's profession. Do you have any teasers that you want to give the audience?
It's going to be a cute video.
You can say that again. I definitely think it's going to be a cute video. But thanks again for everyone tuning in on today's episode. We're your hosts live within... Oh, episode 7. You're right. I'm so sorry. No, you're fine. We're your hosts live with Enrique.
Ariana Villalon.
And we'll tune in next Tuesday. Peace, you two.